But first, let's start with the huge developments in the last half an hour. Danny Rohl looks set to be named as the new head coach at Rangers, bringing an end to a search for a head coach that has lasted more than 2 weeks. We can head to Ibrox now for the latest and speak to our very own Adam Binney. Good to see you, Adam. So, at long last, do Rangers finally have a replacement for Russell Martin?
Well, it's certainly looking like that. Danny Rohl is in Glasgow and is expected to be named as their next head coach. As you say, it's been quite some saga, 15-day search for a successor to Russell Martin, and it looks as though they're getting to the closing stages of that one, and Danny Rohl is expected to become that next head coach. It isn't done just yet, still a few final details to be ironed out, but yeah, what a saga this has been. It ultimately looks as though Rohl is going to be the man, which is quite interesting considering just as recently as last Wednesday, Danny Rohl had actually ruled himself out, had withdrawn from the process of Rangers' search for the next head coach because he felt as though there were others ahead of him. That looked to clear a path for Kevin Muscat as the club continued into advanced talks with Muscat, which eventually fell through at the 11th hour, or the 11th hour and 59th minute, some may say late last night. But after all of that falling out, that meant that Danny Rohl was back in contention. We reported that last night, but now he is the leading candidate and is expected to take over. He was interviewed for this position before Russell Martin got the job back in the summer, so it's understood that he impressed the hierarchy then, but ultimately he wasn't first choice. This time around, clearly he wasn't first choice either, as the club pursued deals for Steven Gerrard and then Kevin Muscat. So at best, he's looking at third choice for the Rangers job, but it's looking like he will be the next Rangers head coach despite all of that.
And Adam, how do we think fans will react to the appointment?
Yeah, well, given everything I've just said, I think it's going to be quite difficult for Danny Rohl to win the fans over. We heard from Chris Jack of the Rangers Review earlier, who described this appointment as a difficult sell to the supporters. That's for a couple of reasons. As I mentioned, he's clearly not the first choice for the supporters, but not the first choice for the board either, who pursued deals with Steven Gerrard and Kevin Muscat, who both had previous connections and an affinity with the club. That's something that Rangers fans always like to see, and that's something that Danny Rohl, of course, doesn't have. The other issue that they may take with this appointment is, you know, maybe the lack of experience. Some might argue his only managerial position is with Sheffield Wednesday. He hasn't had any other experience as a first team head coach or a manager apart from that. He's been assistant though to the German national team and to Bayern Munich and RB Leipzig, so does have a really impressive coaching CV. That's where some of the concerns from the Rangers fans may creep in about the type of manager they're going to get. Is it a manager? Is it a head coach? In this case, looking like a head coach, and for some that's all too similar to the appointment of Russell Martin, which of course did not go to plan.
Adam, thank you. Well, we heard about reservations there from Adam earlier. We spoke to Chris Jack from Rangers Review, and he said that Rohl might be on the back foot already.
I think the club have got a bit of a sell to the Rangers fans. There was a lot of support behind Gerrard, there was a lot of support behind Kevin Muscat, probably not as much of a groundswell of opinion behind Danny Rohl. Ultimately, he's got a chance to come in and win matches, and if you do that, the Rangers fans, they will turn, they will give you their full backing. But I think he does have a big job on his hands here, because you saw again at the weekend, it's a squad that's not in a good place, it's a club and a crowd that's not in a good place as well. So he comes into a big job, but probably not at a great time. I think if he had been appointed in the summer, he was interviewed for this position in the summer, if he had been appointed then, I don't think you would see the groundswell of negativity. He's been classed as Russell Martin Mark II. People have written him off as it's just another guy from the Championship. I think that's unfair. I think the clubs and the level that he's coached at previously speaks a lot about him. He's clearly got something about him as a coach. Now, you don't work at Bayern Munich, you don't work for the German national team if you're not really good on the grass, if you don't have respect of dressing rooms and players at that level. Doesn't have a lot of managerial experience in his own right. I think that will be a concern to the Rangers fans. But as I said there, if he can come in and win games, they will turn and they will go in his favour.
Well, Rohl took charge of Sheffield Wednesday between October 2023 and in his first season he helped them avoid relegation, which did look extremely unlikely when he arrived. Sheffield Wednesday's troubles are well documented, but they were in no danger of relegation last season, finishing 12th before he departed on July 29th. So overall, he won 34 of his 89 matches in charge. Charlie Austin worked with Rohl during his time at Southampton and believes that Rangers fans should be excited by his potential appointment.
He was the assistant coach to Ralph Hasenhüttl, and ultimately he was a man that brought all the tactics in. At the time, his English wasn't so great, and Ralph Hasenhüttl used to stand next to him on the side, and then he would come in and basically just relay what Danny had told him in German, really. And that was it. He was a phenomenal coach. He really was. The Rangers fans, yes, you can say, you think he's going to be Russell Martin 2.0 and all that, but you don't go and work for clubs like he has done, German national team, Leipzig, Bayern Munich, and then he's gone to the job he did at Sheffield Wednesday to keep them in the Championship was a phenomenal job. So now the biggest bit is going to Rangers, realising how big the club is, but I'll be excited about him coming in. Yes, you haven't got someone that, like you say with Gerrard or Kevin Muscat, that's affiliated to the club already, but you've got someone that's coming in, a young, hungry manager that will have you off your seat. Just be ready for your players to get really fit and counter-pressing at its finest.